This project may not make you necessarily an expert in Python, right? But one of the goals of this project is to enable you to teach Python in a way that is enjoyable by your learners, right? Okay. So there's a straightforward way you can teach the Python, and then it may not look relatable. So that's what I'm trying to do together with you. This is not just a me thing, it's an us thing. So if what I do works for you guys, then it means that it works for our learners too, right? And if it's not working for you guys, then you tell me, you give me feedback, I go back, I modify some of the content, and then I present you with something that is better. So I have opened my doors. I have, okay, and I've opened myself humbly to that, right? So that we get something that is interesting and useful. At the end of the day, if you spend an hour to 2 hours every time and I'm just wasting your time, you're not getting any value from what we are doing here, it wouldn't help any of us. So I always like your feedback. Don't only give me the good ones, but also try and give me the bad ones too. I appreciate both of them equally. Okay, if we are good, just say good and then we step into what we have to do. Okay, thank you, team. Nobody's typing, but I assume you're all good. So today, what are we doing? We are doing control structures. And then control structures, this is how we are able to insert, okay, or inject decision making into our code, right? We learned about the algorithms and some of the flow charts we use, and we talk about the decision process, right? So if we want to make a decision, we'll be using one of these, okay, conditions based on the condition. And we have what we call the if and then the if else. Then we also have the while, we also have the for loop. And this enables us to control the flow of our code so that when we get to a certain point, we'll decide whether we will go left or right. So that's why we are saying it controls the flow of the code, whether it should go left or right. So it makes somewhat our code become somehow smart or appear to be intelligent. And from here, it is from this point that I will introduce, or I'll be able to bring in artificial intelligence to intersect what we are doing so far. But before I do that, we are still in Python, raw Python. So previously, people could create a chatbot, right? And make the chatbot behave as if it were an intelligent system, right? And basically what it was doing that they are just trying to assume all possible scenarios that we could have of questions that you can ask the chatbot. Let's open Google Colab and then look at one something over there. So Google Colab, new notebook. So we started the lesson. We are just going to look at control flow. If we'll start with decision making, the if statement, then look at the else, if else, then the if, elif, else. That's just making it longer. Then we'll quickly look at the loops. I hope I pray I can do this within this 1 hour. Then we also come and look at nested control structures, right? I may skip the nested control structures, but that is if there's enough time. I may give that one as an assignment. Then I intend I will build a very, very simple app, different from Gradio. So this time we're not going to use Gradio. We are going to use something that the students can use on their laptop, even when they don't have internet connection, right? That is when we start using the IDEs, like the Tony we downloaded the other time, or if you have Visual Studio Code, perfect, right? So today we are not going to use Gradio, we are going to use Streamlit, and in either Tony or Visual Studio Code, it works fine. Okay, now in our previous meeting, we learned how to take input from a user, right? From a user. And how did we do that? We use the input, right? we use the input function. Okay, so this, I'm taking an input from the user and I'm just asking a question, where are you? So let's build this step by step together with me, okay? So the notebook is now connecting to usually delay. Let me give it a title, call it control flow. Okay, we are done. So where are you? So let's say market, right? I say market. Nothing happens. Now I want something to happen. I want something to happen. So I want to increase this. Okay, market. So let's say if statement is equal to market, then print you are at the market. Okay, let's start simple, then we gradually build something maybe useful, right? So market. Okay, now let me move this one. Good. So this is a very simple code, right? What is the code doing? I'm walking you through it again. We are taking input from the user. Yeah, someone wants to talk. I thought I heard a voice. Okay, let's continue. So we are taking an input from the user. Then this is like our, let me call this one our mini AI. This is how people try to create AI using what we call the rule-based kind of programming, right? So this part will be hidden from you, the user. So all that you will see is this one. You think you're chatting with a chatbot, and the chatbot is asking you, where are you? And you type market. As soon as you type market, you hit enter. The chatbot says you are the market. But I think this one doesn't look so interesting. So let me make it interesting. Please buy me some tomatoes, right? Let's try this one again. So market, I hit enter. Please buy me some tomatoes. And you'll be like, wow, this chatbot is really very, very intelligent. It knows that I'm at the market. It's asking me to buy some tomatoes. Then someone says, I don't think your chatbot is really an intelligent chatbot. Let's try something else. So we try school and I hit enter. What happens? Did the chatbot respond? Who can tell me what happened? Did the chatbot respond? Yes or no? Please, do you hear me? Am I audible? Yeah, building a very naive chatbot.
You are audible.
Yes.
Yes, you are.
But did they respond? It doesn't look like it responded, right?
No response.
Okay. So in this case, as I would like, see, I'm going to write so many possible conditions so that if you type, so I'm going to like imagine all the possible responses the user can give, and I'll just hard code it. So this one we call them rules. I'm writing the rules to capture every possible scenario. So I'll create another scenario that, okay, it's possible that the next time somebody will not say market but say school. So what will I do in this case? If statement is equal to what? School, right? What should we tell the person? Tell me, give me something. What should we tell the person?
You're welcome to school.
Or maybe work hard. Okay, let me just so
Study
maybe
hard.
study hard. Okay, so now we are putting our chatbot to our naive kind of chatbot. So where are you? The person says school this time round, and we are like study hard. The person is happy with our chatbot. Wow. So I don't know whether you are beginning to see the process or what we are going to bring out. So with if statements, it enables us to make a decision, okay, or run another particular kind of code based on a condition. So these are some of the conditions that we can use. We can use equal to, we can use not equal to, we can use or, we can use both. Like there are so many conditions we can use, right? So I'll just have to look at some of them for you. Okay, any questions at this point? So this is basically how the if statement works. Then there's another one, that's the if else. So when the if doesn't work, then we are saying that then run this block of code, right? So if the person says market, print this, else print take care of yourself, right? Let's see how this works. So we have inputs. Where are you? What's happening on my screen? And I just say maybe I'm at a shop. Enter. Take care of yourself. So in this case, the else is just becoming a default, right? A default to anything that we are typing. So if condition doesn't work, at the end of the day, no matter what happens, if all the if conditions fails, we want this else condition to take over. Is it clear? Is it clear?
Yeah. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any questions? Any questions? Okay, I see some questions in the chat. Let me see. There's no question. Let's just expand it on a little. I'm going to the next one. So let's say the input we want to take from the user, right? Now we are not taking any input from the user. So I have, let me say, age is equal to 20. This is a variable I'm just defining. And then country is equal to, let's say, Ghana, right? We are in Ghana. Then if, let's say, age is equal to 20, or country is equal to Ghana. So now you see that we have two conditions here, either this or that. So in this case, whichever one, and we know how all statements work in mathematics, if you remember. All is like any of them can make it true, right? And once the condition here is a truthy, I don't know whether we've spoken about truthies or falsies, but I'll come back to that. Once this whole condition here is true or evaluates to true, whatever comes after the if, all the way up to the colon, if it evaluates to true, then what follows after the colon will run, right? So let's check this one out. You are not a minor. I think in Ghana it's 18, right? Is it 18? Correct me. Those who know law.
Yeah, I think it's 18.
18.
But I was listening to the radio the other time. I was hearing something like consent age is 16 or something. Well, maybe that's also another thing altogether. So print, you are a minor. Okay, good. So this is one example. Then let me show one with the not condition. If country is not equal, it's not equal to Ghana, then the colon, what do we tell the person? What do we tell the person? Right. You are not eligible, or you are not a citizen, right? You're a spectator. Okay. Then we have the else. Rent. Welcome. Something like this. Okay. So let's run this cell and see what happens. But what do you think will happen for the first block? What do you think will happen? And notice the way I'm writing the if and the else. You see, they are on the same line, right? If it would be English composition, we'll call it indentation. Or we'll usually call this, they have a name they give to it in English language. What's the name? I know it's indentation, but sometimes they call it something else. Those were when our time when we were writing essays in SHS, they would tell you to leave a paragraph. So each time you are starting from a new paragraph, they wanted you to do something like this. But in Python code, these indentations are very important. They can either be just two spaces. You hit your space bar twice, it will work. If you hit it 4 times too, then means that everywhere you must do 4 times, right? But most of the companies that I work with, they prefer the 4. But over here, I'm just using 2. So you can use 2 to work, you can use 4 to work. But if you're working for anyone or any institution, you might just check some of their codes and script and you know the indentation that they use for Python and just follow along with it. So why you have indented twice. So as soon as you bring the colons symbol, whatever follows or the next code block should be an indentation, right? And over here is 2, but you can use 4. Okay. So who can tell me what will happen with this code block? So the variables have been set up here, right? Right now we are just going to use them here in our code. So what do you think is going to happen with the code block? Anyone to help us? What will be the result of this first code block? Or we should work through together. You want us to work through together?
I think it will print you are not a minor.
To print you are not a minor. Why are you saying so?
I'm saying so because the age 18 satisfied the condition that the person is not a minor.
And then the country is also okay. And the country is also in Ghana, right?
Yes, please.
Wait, hold on. I hope you are not doing the English thing.
That is what I'm thinking, that I'm doing English thing.
No. What I do is the English thing. No. See, Python doesn't know about what is going on in our country, doesn't know about our constitution, right? All this Python is doing is what you're written in this code, in this block here. So right now we are saying age is what? We are storing age inside the container. So we are storing 18 inside the container called age.
Yeah.
And we are storing
Ghana for country.
In the container called country.
Okay.
Good.
So even if one of the conditions are true, it will print.
Hello.
Yeah, not a minor. Hello.
Right now we are saying that for this one, yeah, come in.
So I think with the first code, the person will need to satisfy only one of them, and it will print it for the person that the person is not a minor.
Sure. At least one of the conditions must be true.
Okay, so now let me come back to the analogy of the container again. This is where it becomes important. So for our container, age is just a container, right?
Sure.
Yes.
This color is back. So all that we are saying here in Python code, what Python is, or how Python understands this is that if this thing age here if the container H here is content, which we already know from the top here, right? So the code at this level, okay, at this level, you just saying that it's 18 equal to what is inside the container. If it's equal to, then this one will be true. Here too is the same thing. Is Ghana, this string here, Ghana, the same as what is stored inside this container? And of course, we stored Ghana here in a container. So this will also be true. So that's how Python is just trying to read this code. It's just looking at what is stored in the container and comparing it to what is outside here. Please, does it make sense?
Yes,
what is outside is 18, right? And we are saying it's 18 equal to what is inside the container. And of course, we have initially stored it. And is Ghana equal to what is stored inside this container? And the other one is also true. So if, and this all condition is such that if any of the two is true, it means that overall this if condition here is true. So this whole thing will evaluate to true. Therefore, we can now have this one printed. If it evaluated to false, then this condition will rather be fulfilled. Makes sense.
a lot.
Now let me open Tony. Tony is so good at doing this kind of thing. Tony can show you the details, how Python really evaluates some of these things. Let me open Tony and let's run this code in Tony. Sometimes when I open Tony, my whole machine becomes slow. I don't know why. That's this old machine I'm using today. I didn't bring my work one. Okay. So I'm in Tony right now. I just copied the code here into Tony, right? Let me know if you can see my screen. Is my screen okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So when you have a script like this, you want to run it in Tony, sometimes you may have to save it. So let me, you see this green button here? I want to click on the green button. Okay, so the button has been clicked. So let's, now, when I click the run button, this green button is to run the whole cell. So now for this whole cell, I can now do what we call the debug, and debugging will now walk us through this whole code systematically, right? So let's do that together. Sometimes if you find it difficult to explain what your code is doing, okay, copy the code and bring it to Tony, right? And let's do the debugging together. So I'll click on this. I think there's some noise in my video.
Someone is giving us a feedback. A child.
I think I see the person. Let me mute the person. Yo, please can you mute yourself? Our junior Python programmer. Okay. So we click on this. Do you see this back? This thing like an insect here. Click on it. And it's telling me I have to save this script before I can debug. No problem. Let's click on OK and save it. I'll just save it anywhere, right? You can go to File. Where it is save as. Let me save it with a name, right? Maybe if else .py. As a Python extension must end with .py, right? Okay. Now let's try and debug. I'll click on that back symbol again, that insect. What do you guys see? It's about to debug the code. Debug means that to go to every line of code and show you exactly what is happening inside there. To me, this is one of the most important skills in your programming world. Sometimes I want to build a program in Python. I can write the whole script, everything within some few minutes or maybe an hour or two. Debugging can sometimes take me about a week. Yeah, whenever there's a problem in your script and you're trying to find it, it can take you a lot of time. But right now with AI, I'm able to debug faster. And I'll teach you how to do that. So over here, we are not trying to find a problem, but we are just trying to understand the code, right? And debugging can help us do that. So look at this. We have a couple of yellow symbols here. They are so small. I don't know whether you can see them. I've tried to maximize my screen, but those buttons are not becoming bigger. So we have the step over and the step into. So I want the step into, right? Right now I'm stepping into the code. Please do you all see that? I click on the second one and I've stepped into the code. So you just keep on clicking it, the second one, and then to be showing what is happening. So right now it's saying 18 has been stored inside the age container. Right now we are on the country one, right? And it's saying that this thing here, this string here, country, it has been stored inside the variable called country. Okay, good. Now it's coming down to the next part. Let me make it bigger. This part I wanted to see. I click on that yellow thing again. Now it has highlighted our condition and it's going to evaluate it for whether it's true or false. So look at what it's going to do. It's starting with which one? Which one is it starting with?
Age.
Now it's saying that age. It's going to check what is inside age. And do you see what it's doing? It's saying 18 is inside age.
18.
And it's
Yes.
equal to what is outside. Do you all see that?
Yes.
Then we go, so we're now going to say that then 18 is equal to 18. So it is what? True. This is has
True.
changed it to true.
Yes.
Of
Okay,
course.
good. So that's what
It
we call
has.
a truth. That's evaluated it to be a truth. So it's true. Then the next one, I'm stepping into that one. I think it did the same thing for the country too, and it got the same thing. So therefore, it's telling us that this is what will run next. Right? You are not a minor.
You are not a minor.
Then it did not run this one because the condition is truth, it's a truthy. The first block will be run, and the else block will be
Yeah.
skipped.
It will
So right now
leave.
we
It will
have come to
skip.
the second block. Exactly. So we are the second block. Let's step into that one too. I'm stepping into it. If country is not equal to Ghana, so I click into that. Country is Ghana. So when I ask if Ghana is not equal to Ghana, print you are not a citizen. Else print welcome home. So from what it has seen, it's saying false.
It's false. Yeah.
Because
It's
Ghana
a
is equal
false
to Ghana.
statement.
So that's a false statement. So if it's false, this one will not run, but rather to skip this one and go and run the last one.
The
Let's check
next
that one
one.
out.
Yeah. The else statement.
And that is it. We've stepped into our code. I hope you enjoyed the debugging.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting.
Yeah, it's very, very, very. See, when I was learning Python, this is one of the reasons why I love Tony so much. But after I can get the script from somewhere, it looks very confusing. I'll just copy it and bring it to Tony, and I will take my time, debug it line by line, and see exactly what is going on under the hood. So this can be a very helpful tool during your lessons, right? Your Python lessons, and to help students also understand what is going on behind the scene. Yeah. Okay. I think we're good. Any questions? Any questions before we carry on? So we understand the if else statements, right?
Yes.
Okay.
We do.
Sure.
Okay. Now let's do one more. That is the elif. Let's introduce elif. Enter elif for us. So favorite food, right? Let's do something like that. So let's store this variable called food. Oh, I think I'm input. What is your favorite food? Okay. What are some of the options we can get for that? Please hold on, coming. So we leave a space here. Okay. Before the grammarians kill me. Today I'm very tired. But we roll. Okay. Favorite food? Then let's use if else condition, right? If food is equal to rice, rice master, right? Then we come to the elif. Hello guys, sorry. Food is equal to what do we say? Yam, right? Yam.
Gobe.
What would we print for yam? I am that I am. This one, I'll make it I am. I am that I am. Okay, what else? Elif. So do you see what is happening now? We can write multiple conditional statements, right? If food
Food
is
is equal
equal
to Gobe.
to
Print Gobe is life.
you didn't go to Care University. You'd have known this term. Call it Gobella. You are a Gobella. Okay. Should we try it out?
Yeah.
What is your favorite food? Say yam. So that is it. So when you want to have multiple statements, you can use the elif. It's not just one, and we have multiple. And at the end of it all, let's say the person does not type any of these things. What do? We can give a default, right? Print, maybe eat local food. Okay. So that is all about those three things. So we look at if, while, no, if we did the if statement, the if else, and then the elif else. We've done that. Now we are about to go into the loops. The loops. We look at the for loop and then the while loop. Any questions?
Nope.
So far, so good.
Okay, good. Now there's something in Python that it looks like JavaScript. And when you were doing JavaScript, did they teach you the control flow? If they taught you control flow, you will have learned something called switch statements. Did you learn anything like that? Hello, am I talking to the same people or this is a different batch? Maybe those who did the web development are different from those who are doing this one.
No, yeah, the same.
Okay. Did you do something like that? Did they teach you control flow like what I'm teaching you now? Conditions.
Yes, please.
So you did a switch statement, right?
Yes.
If okay. If you did that, then you know this. So is this Python's equivalent of that? But this one is something relatively new, right? It wasn't in Python previously, but we just introduced it. And I'm just showing you the equivalent, and then we go to the next one. Then let's say you can keep on writing the cases. Then the last one is the default case, right? So that way you can use the underscore. That's a popular syntax. Print. So this is just a typical example. And you can see what's happening. So this one is quite similar to the if else. Which one do you prefer? Do you prefer the if else, or do you think the match case will be better? Which of these two do you think will be interesting to use?
I think the Elif. The Elif might better.
To me,
The
the case
syntax
look
looks more friendly. The syntax looks more friendly to you, like how it is written. Okay, so we are done with that. Let me add the text or here, at least some short notes over here, or heading or title. So what do we call this one? We call this one if L if else, then if elif else, right? Okay. Then what we are going to do now, if I see you guys are too tired, I'll just end with the for loops and I'll just continue. Okay. Now we want to look at for loops. Now for loops are quite interesting, right? Because what happens with the for loop is that it is used to go through. Another word for go through is iterate, right? So we need to go through things that Python allows us to go through. And the things that Python allows us to go through from the beginning to the end, we call them iterables, right? And so some of the iterables in Python, we have strings, we have lists. List is the most common, right? We also have tuple, and then what have you? List, tuple, strings, dictionaries, sets, etc., etc. So I'll just run a couple of them and then you see what's happening. So let's start with the list. So for lists, we define them, right? We use square brackets, right? So let's try one. So let's say we have fruits, and then a list of fruits we say mango, we say pear, we say oranges. Mango, pear, and oranges, all are fruits. Okay, awesome. Now, this has been given to, we are going to give this list, which we say is an iterable, right? Iterable because we can go through this list from the beginning to the end. Now, let me introduce something small in the next line. So for lists, you can index them, you can index the list, right? To get the first item, second item, third item. So we call that one indexing. So let me just show you just one example. So we can say the index one. What do you expect will be the result?
Online
Index
class
one.
over.
Very special.
fair.
Result.
Well,
Index
imagine
one.
being the form was several years. Your partner tertiary.
So there is noise at the background.
Birthdays.
Let me find the person. Okay. What do you think will be the result of this? This just I'm doing fruit one. He said
It will be
The
fair.
tail comes.
Hey, hey,
pear.
yeah, the output
Okay.
will be hey, yeah.
Okay, I made it fruit, sorry. So oh, what's happening? My eyes is deceiving me or what? I think I didn't run this cell. That's why. Okay, good. Pear. So you can index it, and the first index is in the index 0. I just wanted to test you guys. You guys are good. Mean that you took your JavaScript class seriously.
Mm.
If you know JavaScript, I said you know almost 70% Python. Okay, let's continue. So right now we are going to give this list to the for loop, right? And the for loop will go through from index 0 to the last index. So I'm going to say for fruit in fruits. Please don't get confused. For fruit in fruits,
Hey,
print. We say A.
this
Print.
is new.
I love. I love what? Let me make this one plural. Oh, okay. Okay. Or let me start simple first, then I'll introduce string formatting to you. Let me not introduce that one yet. So let me just say I love. I love. Let me try this one first. So let me run this. So I'm running this one again because I changed the name, right? And I'm going to run this again. Okay. Now what is going on here? For fruit in fruits, print, I love, then the fruit. Now let me explain how for loops works, and you begin to see that it is so easy. So basically what the for loop does, okay, is that it makes use of two containers. Look at it carefully. Containers are just variables, right? We've already explained that over and over again. And I told that the more you appreciate containers to be variables, the easier it will be for you to understand most of the scripts that we write or people write. So we just see every container here or every variable here has a container. So over here, this fruit I'm using here is a container. So I always call the first container we give to the for loop as a small container. And the second container is usually the big container, right? So the big container is actually holding everything. Everything in our list, this list here, everything's in a big container. So what then is the use of this small container? The small container just takes one item at a time from the big container. I'm good about that. The big container contains everything. That's the second thing that comes after the in. And the first variable here is the small container. The second one is the big container. So we will put everything inside the big container, then take it one after the other. So the container here is small, so you can only take one thing at a time. So it will be like for every single fruit inside all the fruits, print, I love, then this is on a big container or small container? Who can tell me?
A small container.
Good. So whatever, and so this is what it means. Whatever is in the small container at this place, that same thing will also be in a small container at this place. So the first item will now be what? Mangoes, right? Mangoes will be placed here, right?
Mangoes. Yeah.
Big mangoes is placed here. The same mangoes will be also placed here. That is why this will print I love what? Mangoes.
Mangoes.
Then the
Yeah.
pears will be the next thing. The pears will be the next thing from the big container to the small container. And then pears will now be here. So if pears is now here, the same pears will be here because it's the same small container we are using here called fruit. And that's why we will print I love pears. Please, does it make sense? And the same thing for the oranges.
Okay.
Does it make sense? Are we all following?
So it means the I love, which is in the quotation marks, will run through each statement.
It is fixed. Yeah, we call it hard coded. It's fixed.
Mm.
It is fixed. It's just so this one will just be fixed. The only thing changing will be this one because I'm changing it here, so it will also change here. See, let's go and look at how
Okay.
this one will work. Let's take this script to where should we take it to? Let's take it to our Tony, right? Tony will make it, and then we'll debug it at Tony. So let me replace the script here. go back and go and pick the other one, the last part, the for loop. I copy it, and then I bring it here. Okay, are you ready to debug? I click on the back symbol, right? Are you ready to step into? If you're ready, just type step into, and I'll step into it. I don't want anyone to sleep. After this one, I won't teach anything else. I'll just start building our app. Because most of you will be sleeping soon. So by 9:30 we can close. Okay, only 2 people. Oh, then I won't step into it. I won't step into it. I want more people to say step into before I step into it. Like if I step into it and something happens to my leg. If I step into it and something happens to my leg, I can blame you people. You are telling me to step into it. Okay, so let's step into it. If you are all saying I have to step into it, I'm going to step into it and we'll see what will happen. So I step into this code. It's just showing that all of these things are being stored in a variable called fruits, right? All these 3 things.
Yes.
They are one and they have been stored inside fruits. Awesome. Now we have come to where the challenge is. So fruits, this is the big container, right? And it's showing you all that is inside the big container. Do you all see that?
Yes. Yes, we can see that.
And I show you the small one. It's showing you what is going to have to be printed. I love fruits. Now it's pointing the small container. What is going to happen to that one? It is picking mangoes, right? I love mangoes.
As the first.
First thing. Then it goes to pears. Now it sees pears in a big container. And that's given to the small container. So what do we have in the small container now? Pears. And then it goes on to oranges. Oranges. Okay, does it make sense?
Very, very interesting.
Yeah, very, very interesting. Good. Let's go back. Let's go back. So we've seen how the for loop works. Right, for loop works. Okay. Now, so anything that is an iterable, it can work. So this first iterable we are dealing with, it is a list, right? I mean, it is a list. So we've seen lists. I won't do all of them. I'll only do some of them. The rest, as time goes on, you yourself, you'll get to know them. So let me just do string. So another popular iterable, right? So you can iterate through strings too. So I can say word is equal to let me just say mangoes, right? Okay, then I'll say for character in word, print, let me make this one very super simple, character. What's happening here? Forget about these names. So these names, Python doesn't understand what they mean. It only sees them to do what? Containers. So don't bring your English understanding of a sentence here, no. Python sees a container here called word, having a string inside it called what? Mangoes. Let me make the page bigger. And it also sees that we are using another container here. This is a small container to pick one character at a time from the big container, right? Which contains, again, mangoes. Whatever is in the small container at a time, it will bring that same thing here and then to print it. So guess how it's going to happen? Let me run the cell. So it takes the M from the mangoes, gives it here and prints it for us. M, it goes to take the A. So because it's an iterable, to do it from the very beginning to the last letter, what is what? S. So it prints M, prints A, prints N, prints J, O, E, S. It's like a wrap. Okay. Do you see how for loops are able to enable us to go through any iterable? So once you are an iterable and we give it to the for loop, see, it can run through you. It can run through you. Any questions?
Okay.
I hope it's very simple, right? The last one I will
Yes,
talk
it
about.
is.
The last one, and I will not go further. The other eye troubles, please go and play with them, go look for them and have fun with them. So there's a range function in Python. This function, very interesting function. You can just define a range of numbers and to give you those numbers. So let's say for range, I can say for number in range, let's say 10, print number. So all the numbers in this range, it depends on one after the other, right? So one interesting thing that the range starts with for what? By default, it starts from 0. Start from 0. Okay. Any questions? But you can change the default where it starts from, like what I've done here. I've changed it to 1. You can change it to what?
Okay.
But if
5.
you don't, if you don't specify where you start from, to start from 0.
Okay.
So this was an interesting function. Okay. Let's try something interesting. So for num in range, let me say range 10. I want somebody to tell me what I'm doing before I finish. You can tell me what I'm doing before I finish. I'll give you credit. Are you guys ready to tell me what I'm doing?
I believe you are sorting. No.
I have.
You are printing even numbers.
Who is that? Who is
That's
that?
me.
What's
You
your
are
name?
printing even numbers, Prince.
Okay.
So
So let me
they are
add the number
dividing
instead of
without a remainder. So it's going to be-
that's modulo, right? We mentioned it on the first day. So let me try to make this one more sensible by starting from what 1.
yeah.
So that given out the even numbers, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I've combined for loop and then if statement. So we could have done what? We could have added an else here, right?
Yeah.
Else print the same number, not even. Do we see that?
Yes, we can see that.
Any questions?
Yeah. Mm. Wow.
Is it
Not
boring?
even
Like
even number, not even number, not even. Yeah.
No sleep. Wake up.
We are not sleeping.
Sorry, I
Sorry, I
think
think
my
my
microphone
mic.
went off.
How many of you have Tony on the machines? I want us to have this in the breakout session. So I'll just send you this file, then you do it for me in the breakout session. Are you ready for it? Or you guys are too tired? This will take less than 10 minutes to finish. Should we step into it or we shouldn't?
We should.
Should we step into it?
Please, let's continue tomorrow.
Okay. Hey, the woman has said we consider tomorrow. Okay, I'll give it to you as homework, right? I know
Okay.
that some of you are still marking your script and stuff like that. So don't worry. I'll do it. I'll just send it. I will load it to the internet and I'll send the link to you. Then you can try it at your end as homework, right? And it contains all the setup, steps, everything step by step. What it basically do is that you're going to use Tony to do this project. It's a mini project, right? So you can use the ID. So you open your Tony, it shows you exactly what to do. If you have not downloaded Tony, you go to step 1. But most of you have already downloaded it, so you start with step 2, right? And then just do it step by step, line by line. Then you do everything as I've made it so simple that it just teach you everything you have to do.
Okay.
But if you are starting, you can just click on the WhatsApp page and then I will help you wherever you are starting. So team, that's all for today. I wouldn't stress it so much. Some of you have still marking space and I know. So hopefully, God willing, tomorrow we'll also have another 1.5 hours meeting. Thank you so much for joining me today. Stay blessed. Have a wonderful evening. Bye bye.
Thank you very much, boss.
Thank you so much, sir.
Okay.